Hi, my name is Meenakshi Wadhwa, and I'm Director and Professor in the School of Earth and Space Exploration at Arizona State University. I'm going to be telling you today about the SCoPE project, and SCoPE here stands for SMD Community of Practice for Education. So this is a project that was just recently selected for funding for the next 5 years by NASA's Science Activation program as part of the Science Activation program integration call. So first I'd like to tell you a little bit about why we propose SCoPE. The National Academy's Space Studies Board conducted a study of NASA's Science Activation program in 2019, and one of the areas that was identified as a critical gap was that there was not a clear and well-defined process by which NASA-funded subject matter experts, or SMEs as we call them, could connect with the community of educators, content developers, and disseminators within the Science Activation Program, or SciAct, and the learners that they serve. The SMEs, of course, are a very broad community of researchers funded by NASA in all divisions of the Science Mission Directorate, or SMD, including planetary science and astrobiology, astrophysics, heliophysics, and earth science. Many of these SMEs have the capacity to contribute meaningfully to the wonderful array of ongoing programs and projects within the NASA SciAct collective, but many, if not most of them, are not even aware of these projects. So we assembled a team here to propose the SMD Community of Practice for Education, or SCoPE, to address this goal of connecting NASA-funded SMEs with the SciAct educators, developers, disseminators, and through them, the broad spectrum of learners that they serve. I'm the PI for this project, which is based at Arizona State University. Dr. David Williams is a planetary scientist who serves as the deputy PI for SME engagement, and Jessica Swan is an educator who serves as deputy PI for SciAct engagement. We have a team of co-Is who are prominent SMEs at ASU in each of the areas of NASA SMD, including Ariel Unbar, who represents astrobiology, Greg Asner, who represents earth science, Jim Bell, who represents planetary, Katrina Bossert, who represents heliophysics, and Yevgenia Shkolnik, who represents astrophysics. And we additionally have collaborators who are also prominent SMEs beyond ASU, including Meher Desai from the Southwest Research Institute representing heliophysics, Heidi Hamel, affiliated with the Association of Universities for Research in Astronomy and representing astronomy and astrophysics, Rosalie Lopez with JPL, who represents planetary science, and Marshall Shepard from University of Georgia representing earth science. And last but not least, Molly Simon, who's an education researcher and faculty member at ASU with expertise in citizen science. So these co-Is and collaborators will each be leveraging their professional networks to create a network of networks and basically raise awareness and facilitate the engagement of diverse SMEs across all areas of NASA SMD. Finally, we have an internal evaluator, Chris Mead, and an external evaluator, Sandlin Buxner, who will be monitoring the effectiveness of our project activities. So SCoPE, as the name implies, will be creating a community of practice where the community will be the SMEs and the SciAct teams that we help to bring together to create inspirational educational content that is impactful and based in real-world, cutting-edge scientific discoveries in earth and space science and engineering. So here I'm showing you now a visualization, a nice spiral galaxy here, of the anticipated pathways of newly engaged SMEs. The center of the diagram depicts the most active members, including the project team, SciAct teams, and highly engaged SME leaders. On the periphery are SMEs with no knowledge of and no connection to SciAct, and our project activities are intended to bring SMEs along a pathway from unconnected to aware of SCoPE opportunities. to investigating those opportunities, and that path is shown here in blue. And then learning how to engage in education and starting to actively contribute to SciAct, and that's shown in green. And then co-creating education products with a SciAct team, and for a small number to leading in the community of practice, and that's shown in yellow. So the numbers will decrease as we go from blue to green to yellow, but the degree of engagement is intended to increase as we go along that path. So how are we going to create the pathways that I just showed you to build this community of practice? We will do this in 4 main steps that are shown here over the course of 5 years. The first year will be primarily focused on creating awareness of SciAct projects and teams among the SMEs. Our SCoPE co-Is and collaborators will help us do that through their professional networks, and we'll utilize forums like town halls at professional societies. Our game plan is to leverage the centrality of professional societies as well as the professional networks of the proposal personnel to increase the number and diversity of SMEs on an engagement pathway that will contribute to NASA's SciAct program. More specifically, we'll leverage the large attendance at conferences like the AGU and the AAS annual meetings to create visibility and increase awareness of the SciAct, and to provide SMEs and SciAct teams opportunities to connect, to brainstorm, to plan, and to share their collaborations. We will leverage the training mechanisms that already exist at these large conferences to provide useful training to interested SMEs that will prepare them to effectively contribute to SciAct projects. We'll use these conference venues to conduct meetings within meetings to implement some of our core activities like matching SMEs with particular SciAct teams and projects, and demo activities for SMEs to share the latest discoveries from NASA missions with SciAct teams. So we'll use targeted funding to facilitate small projects up to 12 a year in years 2 through 5 that bring together SMEs and SciAct teams and minimize logistical obstacles to collaboration and create incentives and accountability. We will also offer virtual skills trainings, workshops, and other events and activities for SMEs and the SciAct that allow for flexible locations and time of participation, and this will sustain interest throughout the year. So these are the steps and the tools that we will use to build this community of practice. We'll use this community of practice model to promote engagement and continuously improve and document best practices for collaboration between SMEs and SciAct teams. So the primary goal and the main impact of the SCoPE project will be in establishing an effective and a sustainable process by which SMEs can engage with content producers and audience-focused disseminators within NASA's Science Activation program portfolio. Because of this, the project is also expected to support and improve many SciAct projects through enhanced SME engagement. To achieve this primary goal, we have a number of steps, which I outlined earlier in the presentation. We'll make SciAct and its projects more visible to SMEs. We'll reach out specifically to early career and underrepresented SMEs. We'll make it easier for those SMEs to find ways to work with SciAct, and we'll provide training to help those SMEs to be more effective in their educational engagement. So these are expected to lead to these outcomes that are listed here by the end of the funding period. At least 1,000 Earth and space science and engineering SMEs who are aware of the SciAct program and projects, and at least 50 of which are trained and ready to contribute to a SciAct project. So that's our main top-level goal here. Another one, of course, is to increase diversity of Earth and space science and engineering SMEs who are trained and ready to contribute, and who then actively participate in a SciAct project. Other outcomes include the fact that SciAct teams will report having improved access to potential SME collaborators and will report positive outcomes from collaborating with SMEs trained through this project. Overall, SciAct teams will report that this project's community of practice was a source of value to their project. Another important dimension to this project's impact is in identifying, defining, and disseminating best practices for SME engagement by the SciAct and other educators. So this impact will flow from activities from this project's community of practice and the work of the internal and external evaluators. A common outcome in this regard will be the publication. Actually, the particular outcome in this regard will be the publication of a peer-reviewed article that describes the best practices for SME engagement based on the results of this project. Finally, to ensure the long-term sustainability of our project's impact, we will work closely with professional scientific societies like AGU and AAS and others, and we anticipate that the main outcome of this work will be an institutionalized presence at annual meetings for these societies long after the SCoPE project has completed its 5-year run. So thank you very much, and I hope that we will have the opportunity to work with a lot of the SMEs in the future that are listening to this, and hopefully can connect with SciAct in a meaningful and impactful way. Thanks very much.